They denied us the California Classic last year. We were not to be denied this go around. The Charlotte Hornets win the Summer League championship. Kon Knueppel, the first round pick, gets Summer League MVP. Let's talk all about it today on a joyous Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
It's Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free and available anywhere you get your podcast, and that includes YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, then you just saw Doug zoom in on the Dream Team shirt that I'm wearing to commemorate the 2025 Charlotte Hornets Summer League roster. That's how good they looked this entire session. There's Doug Branson. Everyhornetsboxscore.com. You can also find him on his other podcast, Locked On NBA, where he will gloat. Yes, he will gloat today, right in front of the face of Matt Moore and Hayes. Did your team win a Summer League championship? No.
Nope.
I am the one that's the expert on basketball. Go listen to Doug on Locked On NBA. I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me every weekday on WFNZ, Wes and Walker, 12 to 3 p.m., 92.7 FM. So let's ask the question that Austin Powers asked his authority figure when discussing some of the details of a case that he was working on. But what does it all mean, Basil? What does it mean that the Hornets won the 2025 Summer League Championship? What does it mean, Doug, that the fourth overall selection that was pretty divisive in Kon Knueppel actually gets the MVP award? And despite Kon being a heady basketball player, not only on the court but off the court, saying KJ Simpson should have won it. If this was an all-week award, then KJ should have been the guy that won it because he was the best player all week long. We see you, Kon. I actually think he earned it. I actually think Kon Knueppel deserved this MVP award. So what does it all mean to you?
Well, I could tell you what it all means, but I think because we've eclipsed 9,000 subscribers and we are rocketing on our way to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Yes, we passed the Locked On Suns podcast on YouTube. Thank you to everyone out there. Now keep going because I think we have to catch the Locked On Blazers podcast next, which might be difficult. Okay. Yeah. Which might be difficult because they are getting a lot of international fans right now. So I could tell you, but I think it's better to tell you and show you. And I can only do that with one thing. And that's the biggest dub of the biggest dub hat since its creation. That's beautiful. What this is. I mean, it sounds ridiculous. It looks ridiculous. It sounds insane to say, but this is the biggest win in the franchise since they went to the playoffs in 2015-16. Look, the Charlotte Hornets came to Vegas with a goal in mind, and that was to win the Summer League championship. And everybody had that goal, but I think you even heard head coach Chris Gent say that goal was being mirrored or started even by Kon Knueppel, the guy that they drafted 4th overall, who came into this game with a compression headband to keep the swelling down and a bandage over 5 stitches on his right eye from where he had a really hard fall that knocked him out of the previous game. He avoids the concussion somehow and is able not only to play in this game, but hit the biggest shot in this game when all of the other high draft picks said, you know what, it's summer, I'm going to go start my vacation early. Kon Knueppel said, you know what, I'm going to go help my team win basketball games. I'm going to go ahead and win the MVP of Summer League. They had a goal. They achieved the goal. They won the Summer League championship. And honestly, I think it's huge. I think hopefully it leaks into the varsity team. But the thing is, Charles Lee came into this team when he became head coach and said, everything matters. And this, to me, symbolizes that. Yeah. It means that they actually meant it when they said everything matters. It was beautiful.
So that's one of two things I think this highlights. I think that you just mentioned, does everything matter or doesn't everything matter? You get to decide. How much do you care about winning this championship? How much do you care about getting better every single day, which Charles Lee tells you when he's going with the in-game interview with the broadcast crew. He tells you, we're obsessed with getting better. That's the culture that we're trying to instill in this organization. We're obsessed with getting better every single day. Okay, do you mean it or do you not mean it?
Or is it
just
pillar talk?
Is this just something you say? Is this just something you say at the broadcast booth, or do you mean it? I think it gives life to actually, living by what you preach. The second thing is this highlights Kon Knueppel being able to get the job done. This highlights he's going to be fine. I'm not saying that he's going to be the best player. It doesn't mean that they made the right decision.
I do.
I'll let you cook in a second. It doesn't mean that Kon Knueppel is the best player in this draft. It doesn't mean that he's the best one outside of Cooper. None of that. What it does mean is that with what was a pretty divisive selection, a lot of people in Ace's camp, easy to understand why. Guy's got a lot of tools. A lot of people in VJ Edgecombe's camp couldn't take him. A lot of people in Trey Johnson's camp, we raised our hand a little bit there. We like Trey Johnson. We would have gone with him over Kon. But when they selected Kon, I could see the vision then. And then it was a little bit murkier after that first game. All right. A little scary. Got to his spots, made smart decisions, and it's still some rough action from Kon Knueppel in the first Summer League game. Misses the second one and then plays really every other game after that, and then shows you, I can win MVP. I can get downhill. If I get my shoulders square with the baseline, then a lot of good things happen. I'm kicking out. I might just use my body and take on that bump and then hit a layup. I'm going to hit open threes like the clutch one he hit yesterday inside 40 seconds to help win that championship. I think it highlights Charles Lee and Jeff Peterson and the culture that they're trying to instill. I think it highlights that. And I think this win highlights Kon Knueppel being fine. He's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I think we ought to stick with Kon Knueppel for a minute, but I want to get to KJ Simpson at some point because I think that let's talk about it because you could talk about championship game MVP. Kon wins that. He should have 21 points in this game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 8 of 21 from the field, 4 3-pointers made, 4 of 11. The efficiency is pretty much summer league efficiency for me. It's fine. And he hit the big shot when it mattered. He was constantly hitting the floor. And again, it didn't matter. He had a bandage on his head. He looked like head wound Harry. Like he looked like a mix between the guy that takes the game too seriously at the Y and the guy who just snuck out of the hospital. It looked like a pro wrestling thing. Like he should have come out in a wheelchair. Oh, he's hobbled. No, he's got the steel chair and he's hitting the Sacramento Kings over the head. And the Hornets win the game. And honestly, they had this game. It felt like they had this game locked up in the first quarter. They doubled up the Sacramento Kings. It was 32-16 at one point. And then the Sacramento Kings said, actually, we're going to put on ball pressure now. We want to win this thing. We want to win our 3rd Summer League championship as a franchise. And so they started to put the sticks to the Hornets a little bit. And the Hornets never really relinquished the lead. But they had to have big shots from Kon Knueppel. I think KJ hit a few big ones. Damian Ball was big in this game for helping to keep that lead. Ryan Kalkbrenner, his defense was amazing. So many things to highlight, but you got to look at what Kon Knueppel was able to do, particularly in the second half, to steady this team. His vision on the floor, his constant fights. I loved what Kon Knueppel did in this game and really all summer long. I think he's the real deal.
I do too. All right, let's move on. Let's continue to talk about the Summer League Championship, the first one ever, coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
See, Dream Team, if you're watching at home, this is the Dream Team that we're talking about
Move
today.
over, Dream Team.
More Kon thoughts, also some Kalkbrenner, some of the other guys that we want to highlight. What does it all mean? I mean, it's a championship Monday, baby. That's what we're celebrating around here. More still to come, LOH. But first, I want to tell you this episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can be. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more, than a budgeting app. It is more. Goodness gracious, Monarch Money. It is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. There's surprising things, surprising features that will help you out that maybe you didn't expect, like takeout or subscriptions that added more than what you expected. You can help manage some of those things in your life. It's fantastic. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com. for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. More Locked On Hornets ahead. You wanted to dive into KJ Simpson a little more, who, if you look at his summer league, maybe Kon Knueppel did have a point that if it was a week-long award, KJ should have won MVP. He was 4 of 15 in this game against the Kings, 11 points, 5 assists, only 3 turnovers, 7 rebounds, too. That should be mentioned with what KJ did. You go to that 29-point victory over OKC in the NBA Summer League semifinal. KJ Simpson, still not a whole lot of points, 8 points, 3 of 9, 0 of 4 from the... Got to sneak it in there. 3 of 9 from the field, 0 of 4 from three-point range, 10 rebounds. Like, just kind of a maniac going towards the rack in Summer League, which was really cool to see. Against the Spurs, there was the 19-point banger. He was 5 of 6 from the free throw line. You know, I won't go down the list, but some good stats overall from KJ. What did you think of the second-year player who felt like the leader of this team all the way through?
Yeah, Kon Knueppel championship game MVP. I'm just going to say it right now. KJ Simpson team MVP. And you have to look, you know how I love my stats. I love my box score stats. And KJ Simpson put plenty of those on the box score, particularly early on in Summer League. And you got to have every win. I mean, you really have to sweep this thing to win this thing. And KJ was a huge part of it. But then you look beyond the stat sheet and you see a guy in KJ Simpson that was like, he didn't have to establish himself as a leader. He just was the leader of this team. It wasn't Tijon Salon. It wasn't Jalen Sims, who has spent a lot of time in Greensboro. It wasn't Kon Knueppel, the 4th overall pick. It was KJ Simpson, the 2nd-round pick, who's not even on a guaranteed contract. He's on a 2-way contract. But he came in here like a bowling ball, like a Tasmanian devil, you called him a maniac, like a bulldog. A lot of the stuff that we heard about him pre-draft, he's just living that more fully this summer than we've ever seen him before. And as a leader, like hearing him mic'd up and telling guys like, hey, you have to be in certain positions. Hey, you got to think, you got to use your head. Like, he wasn't afraid to use his voice. And I'm telling you one thing, like, if you want a spot on this team under Charles Lee, you better know how to use your voice. You better know how to talk and talk loud. And that's what KJ Simpson was doing. And he was backing it up. And I'll say another thing. It didn't matter if KJ Simpson was shooting well or not. He was still competing on defense. He was still getting insane rebounds numbers for his height and for his position. And he was impacting the game, even if it's shooting. And that has to be something that the Hornets absorb as a team, because too often, even when they were healthy over the past couple of seasons, they would let bad offense leak into everything else that they tried to do in a game. And again, this is not a super talented team that can afford really to take any defensive possessions off. And so when they let the bad offense leak into the bad defense, that's how they got blown out, even when they were healthy. So that mentality that I think Kon Knueppel has too, because he struggled in this game. He started 1 of 6 from 3 in this game, but he kept shooting and he kept playing the rest of the game. That's the key. That's what the Hornets have to absorb. And they've got a great lesson here in KJ Simpson and Kon Knueppel.
Yeah, speaking of just highlighting a whole bunch of stuff, what else do we want to mark with our highlighter? I think specifically with KJ Simpson, what does that represent? What is his growth from his rookie season to his second year based on what we saw in Summer League? So again, right, like, you know, as much as we want to put on the big dub hat, I think you should put on the big dub hat. If you had 2, I'd tell you to put that one on as well. But
I do. I'm wearing one right now. You just can't see it.
Yeah, perfect. Great. I don't want to ask any more questions than that. If we want to talk about what it all represents, still understanding the context of it being Summer League, the coaching staff, they've improved a couple of players. We've seen progress. We saw Tijon Salon come in early on in Summer League and show us some progress. We see KJ Simpson, who was the bulldog you speak of, coming out of Colorado State, speaking with people as soon as he was drafted by the Hornets in the second round just last year. I'll run through a brick wall. He's crying because he cares so much. So it's easy to see how you could fall in love with this guy as a prospect. But also he needed to improve on the court, yet you did see that. We did get to see that this go around as being that leader, as a 2-way contract guy with all of these other players around him that are younger, that might look to him to guidance. And apparently they all received it pretty well, with Kon saying he should have won MVP, with everyone else pointing to KJ as that leader. Yeah, I think the coaching staff, they can celebrate a little bit just because we're able to see the growth from a lot of these players, maybe even from the beginning of Summer League to the end of Summer League in that 5-6 game sample, depending on how many games players played, and from last year to this year, you can see the growth and the maturity of a lot of these younger players.
Well, and he's proof positive. Really, this entire team is proof positive that this organization, this front office, has a type, and now we have proof that that type can lead to winning something. Okay? Yes, it is just Summer League. Summer League is for feelings, though. If my eyes look puffy, it's because I was up until 2 a.m. writing every Hornets box score, and because I was crying. And I know I'm not the only one out there because I paid attention to the Every Hornets box score chat. I know you cried too, because this team has not won a conference. They've not been to a conference championship ever, much less won one. They haven't won a playoff series in nearly a decade. They haven't won a playoff series in nearly 2 decades. They haven't been to a playoff series in a decade, and they've never played on Christmas Day for Santa's sake. I mean, they've done nothing except provide us with the joy of cheering for our hometown team. That's it. They don't have any hardware. And so this is proof that their mindset of how to bring in players actually leads to something. Yes, now the varsity team has to do it. Now they have to continue to reconfigure this roster in a way that's going to actually win something at the NBA level. But this is a great start. And also they drafted 4 guys that they're going to add to this rotation over the next 4 or 5 seasons. I don't know how you can come away from this Summer League with anything but like thrilled vibes about where not only where the Hornets are going to be this season, but where the Hornets are going over the next 4 to 5 years.
And they did it all without PJ Hall, who Hornets fans love to a level I didn't quite expect. I knew we loved him after some dunks that he had just a couple games ago, but boy, we really, really, really love PJ Hall, especially after he signed that 2-way contract with Memphis and was not available for this one. Let's hold that thought. Let's go to the other side and then discuss some of the things we may have seen in this game, in the semifinal game. That's coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
PJ Hall.
He's everywhere!
Yeah, PJ Hall, no longer a Charlotte Hornet. Instead, he's a Memphis Grizzly. But we'll get into what we saw from Kalkbrenner. We'll get into what we saw a little more just within the specifics of Kon Knueppel's game and share some more observations with you. That's still to come. Final segment, LOH. All right, let's get to maybe the specifics of the game and the tournament, what we saw, the skill sets that we saw on display. Where do you want to go here, Doug? More Kon talk? Do you want to go with Kalkbrenner, who played in every single one of these Summer League games? Interesting session for him. Where do you want to go?
I just found this stat. Do you know how many rings Paul George has?
I do. It's pretty easy to guess. I know that it's 0. He's got 0
The answer is
rings.
0. You know how many rings that Kon Knueppel, KJ Simpson, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Jalen Sims, MJ Walker, Josh Aduro, DJ Rodman, Damian Baugh, James Banks, PJ Hall, you know how many rings they have?
Do they give rings for Summer League championships?
They
or is it just
absolutely freaking do, and they are huge and beautiful. All of them have one ring. I saw the ring ceremony.
How many do they have, Doug? How many rings?
They have one. Well, they have, I mean, if you count them all together, it's probably because, Salon gets one, McNeely gets one. They were all injured. Sion James, Jemiah
PJ Hall
Neal,
gets one.
Jr.
Kon Knueppel said PJ Hall still gets one. So
he was there. He was on the bench, even though he was signed by Memphis. PJ, if they had lost, it was going to be PJ Hall of shame, though. I mean, I would never have forgiven PJ Hall if they had lost this game, particularly because of how close it was, how the margins were at the end of this game. Insane ending. Nobody could score. The defense was crazy. Everybody wanted this. It was so fun. I can't stress this enough because I know, listen, people that read every Hornets box score, people that are everydayers on this podcast, I don't need to convince you of the emotions that went into this, how we're feeling. None of this is going to be foreign to you because you've lived all of the trauma that we have all lived through, okay? Some longer than others. But to people, this is going to seem ridiculous to people who just check in with this show because of the Mark Williams trade. I know we still have some stray Lakers fans.
We do.
Hey,
it's hilarious.
But they're going to see this as ridiculous, but you have to understand that the Hornets have not Even in the games that they've played of consequence, the 2 play-in games, what happened in those games? They got absolutely smoked. Why? Because they did not enter that game with either of those play-in games with any kind of sense of urgency that was anywhere close to what this team was able to enter this game with and finish this game with. That's, it's just, I want it so bad for the varsity team. It was beautiful to see with the JV team.
Well, and even in Summer League in years past, I remember, I think it was 2 years ago. Right. They'd get destroyed. I mean, the first Summer League game a couple of years ago, they're down like 20 immediately by the time they get to halftime. And I remember the Rick Ross diving board GIF was going along at that time. And I said, this is the Hornets jumping into Summer League. This is what we all expect when the Hornets go into Summer League, because they never gave us a point guard just for years and years and years. They never assembled a team the type of way that you would want your GM to assemble a team. And they have the last couple of years. And guess what? They performed really well in the California Classic, and they performed well this year. Now, it does have to go well with the varsity squad. It does. But I think you can see things heading the right direction.
What were they getting paid for? What were they taking your hard-earned season ticket money, and what the hell were they doing with it? If the Hornets could do this, it just puts into perspective everything that happened in those summer leagues, everything that happened in the regular season and in those play-in games where they thought, well, we'll just roll the ball out here. We'll develop some young players. Ridiculous. It puts into perspective all of that. I'm fired up, if you can't tell. Pretty fired up.
We should talk a little more about PJ Hall, because Hornets community Twitter was going through it before the game last night. Shams Charania tweeted out just hours before tip, the Memphis Grizzlies are signing forward PJ Hall to a 2-way NBA contract.
Traitor!
So he did not play for this game, for the Hornets in this game, because he wasn't a Hornet anymore. He had signed a contract, a 2-way deal with the Grizzlies. I think he would have been my choice to have that last 2-way contract. If it was going to be KJ Simpson, if it was going to be Damian Ball on the other, Peterson, who signed the 2-way deal, if it was going to be him, PJ Hall would have been my choice. As much as Damian actually showed you some stuff last night, I actually like Damian Ball for what he is. He'll get the 2-way now. It seems like I shouldn't assume, because it could be from another team, but Peterson gets it. And then PJ Hall would have been my next choice. I thought he was good. I thought he had some athleticism. I thought he had some nasty. Those dunks were awesome. He was athletic. He wasn't afraid to bow you. That's fine. I want that in a 2-way guy. Just wants to show up for the moment. I want that. So I would have handed him the 2-way contract. Felt like there was a lot of unnecessary frustration in PJ Hall signing a 2-way deal with the Grizzlies because it felt like people thought this was going to have a huge, huge impact on what was going to happen with the Hornets next year. And I'll just say this. If you felt like PJ Hall was going to provide a monster impact for this Hornets team going into next year, then you thought we were already crazy down bad. And if that's the case, then we can't be saved. But I love PJ. I would have given him the 2-way. Awesome stuff. Those dunks were great. But yeah, let's call it what it is. As we get carried away wearing the big dub hat, celebrating a summer league championship, as we get carried away, understandably so, let's chill just a tiny bit on losing PJ to the Grizzlies.
Nope. Okay. Walker speaks for himself. He does not speak for the entire show. Summer is for feelings. You know how I feel about this. Get all into your PJ Hall feelings. I will say if the organization had put together a center rotation to this point that gave anyone any kind of confidence, people would not feel this way about PJ Hall. They would say, well, PJ didn't have a shot anyway. But Kalkbrenner did not. Kalkbrenner did good things and he did bad things. He looks like a rookie. And so, but he did not instill this guy is going to be immediate. I don't care what the hell that depth chart that they kept putting up. They put it up again last night. Didn't remove Josh Okogie's name. Have Dinwiddie over Trey Mann. It's just, they just threw names at this graphic. But they still have Kalkbrenner as starter. He's not starting. There's no way that is happening on a team that wants to be competitive. He has so many growth points to make before he is at that level. I don't care what this center rotation looks like. But had they put something together that was a little bit more NBA ready, then I don't think people would feel this way about PJ Hall. I think part of the feelings were, hey, this guy's actually got a chance to compete with Kalkbrenner and Moose and Mason Plumlee with some minutes on this team, and then he goes to the Memphis Grizzlies. But look, they didn't want to rush the decision. They're probably looking at Ball. They may be looking at some other folks. And hey, guess what? Musa Diabate, that's where he came from.
Yeah, right.
So before you go saying, oh, well, what have they done? Like, you have to look and say this organization does like to look in a lot of places. They like to keep their options open. Thankfully, this version of the organization doesn't like to keep their options open at the 15th roster position like the former administration did. No, they just like to keep their options open on the two ways. And so, look, PJ got an opportunity. I kid with the trader stuff. Salute to PJ. He gave his heart and soul, and he helped. Like Kon Knueppel did, KJ Simpson did, but also PJ Hall helped to set the tone of like, we're going to go out and try to dunk you out of the gym, through the ground, into the core of the earth. Like that was the identity that PJ Hall was helping to establish. So salute PJ, you earned your ring. Congratulations. But if we had lost, PJ Hall of shame.
Yeah, for sure. No, fun player, though. PJ Hall, no longer with us. He signs a two-way deal with a different team. And now you're right. Like, that's what I was looking at, too. Here's Peterson on a two-way contract. God almighty, hit the damn sound. I hate it. Trust me. I don't want this. Trust me, I don't want this any more than you do, listening to this podcast. In fact, I hate it way more than you do, listening to it.
So I can't help but look, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with the listeners.
We record in the morning. This is what I'm like in the morning, apparently, now for the last month. And so, anyways, PJ Hall, really good player for Summer League and what he was able to provide, but he goes somewhere else. Any other details or observations from what we saw?
Kalkbrenner, 5 of 6, 15 points, one of the bigger point totals he put up. And Kalkbrenner's good at getting himself in position to make the oop play or to make the easy, dunk and dish and dunk. He's really good at putting himself in that position. Hands are a little bit of an issue, though. I mean, he did fumble away some good looks. They're not all going to be perfect. It's difficult to judge a big in Summer League who cannot create for himself because by virtue of that, he must be created for. And oftentimes in Summer League, the people that are creating for the bigs aren't as good as the players that they are going to be getting feeds from. So like simple post-entry plays become a little bit of an adventure every single time. So it is difficult to judge that. But I would say there were a few plays even in this game where I'm like, hands, Ryan Kalkbrenner, please secure that basketball and do something with it. But 9 rebounds, did have a block in this game. I thought he was a factor down low. And there was one play where like he hits the deck going for a board. He gets he draws a foul, off-ball foul because he's dragged down to the ground. And you could just see his chest moving up and down, sucking oxygen because, he was putting it all out there. He was giving it all up. So, I thought Kalkbrenner did enough. And particularly in this game because he was up against Maxime Reynaud, who you and I were both huge fans of. And I wanted the Hornets to take both of these guys because I thought it gave you a little offense-defense to look at the center position. But I thought Kalkbrenner had the better game. Maxime was played off the floor because his defense was so bad.
Yeah.
Kalkbrenner was not played off the floor. In fact, he was a vital part of this win.
I would say with Kalkbrenner, the good stuff is I still think his touch is really nice. Once he gets his hands on the basketball, he finishes a lot around the rim. I think he had 4 early buckets, hit a 3. Doug, you give me 2 threes from the big man. All right. I'll take it. There's something to work with there. He made 2 in Summer League and made this one wide open. People just sagging way off of him. Defenses are still going to sag way off of him to just kind of pack the paint, and that'll be fine. Kalkbrenner, you'll still probably take your chances with him missing those, but if he can hit one every once in a while, that's exactly what he did in this session. So I'm glad he hit the 3. He does have a nice soft touch when Kon Knueppel just kept feeding him beautiful lobs, lead passes on the pick and roll. He did a nice job of getting positioning in transition. So when the ball was changing possession, Kon and Ryan Kalkbrenner had a great 2-man game. But this is what Kon does. Like, actually, I'll allow the Kalkbrenner discussion to parlay into a pair somebody with Kon discussion and LaMelo. So I think what Kalkbrenner did through what he was able to do well with the 2-man game with Kon and LaMelo, it's not like it's not because of what he didn't do well. It's more so because of what he did do well that I want it at a higher level. I want to go out and get another center that can really play off of LaMelo and Kon, because I've seen what it can look like between LaMelo and Mark Williams had a bunch of flaws, but 2-man game between those two guys, just as that lob threat, that was awesome to see from your primary ball handler. Kon Knueppel, He made beautiful music with Kaman Malawach at Duke. He did the same thing with Kalkbrenner here in Summer League. Kon and the big guy. Whoever plays center for a team with Kon Knueppel on it, you're going to get some awesome lead passes, some lobs, and that's a guy that can feed you like 4 to 6 points a game, depending on his usage rate.
Salivating.
Well, Musa too, Doug. I actually think some lead passes from Musa, where Musa will dunk on you. Again, he's shorter, but like Musa with some of those lobs and just the rim running stuff. Oh yeah. Give Kon a rim runner, give LaMelo a rim runner. Now you got a backcourt that can facilitate at that kind of level. So there's some things to like about Kalkbrenner, what Kon did with the big guys, but those are some other takeaways that I had watching this session.
So Kon Knueppel, MVP, he hits the shot with 35 seconds to go that essentially put them into guaranteed free throw game. So he was the clutch player of the game. But I have to shout out Ryan Kalkbrenner for getting fouled on a three-point shot. He was 1 of 1 from 3, but really kind of sneak 2 of 2, although I think he missed one of the free throws. But still, he gets fouled on the three-pointer, getting respect from this Summer League squad, and I hope it continues into the bigs. And then on that Kon Knueppel 3, guess who hit a bone-crushing screen to help open that up?
Just so
it
many
was
screens.
Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Yeah.
All right, let me do some rapid fire shout outs here. I'm just going to kind of go down the box score. I think we talked enough about Kalkbrenner, Knueppel, Simpson. How about Jalen Sims, the Greensboro Swarm superstar in this summer league, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. And I think he got 6 of those free throws made before he ever got a field goal. He just kept driving, kept getting contact. He's been huge over this summer, and I hope he sticks with the Greensboro Swarm, but I think he's also a threat to go find a contract somewhere else.
Real quickly, feels like maybe a Marcus Garrett, Wendell Moore kind of guy that you might call up in a pinch where you need bodies. That's the kind of body, that's the kind of player that Jalen Sims seems to be, which, again, might be in the danger zone if you're doing that too many times. But maybe Jalen Sims is first in line for that kind of opportunity with all the G League guys.
Dude, yeah, he got a little bit of time with the varsity squad at the very end of last year. He looks like a better player. He looks bigger, stronger, and he just looks more confident. So, again, hope he lands in Greensboro. Maybe he lands the other. Maybe he gets it over Ball. I don't know what they're thinking right now, but that would not shock me if that happened. Josh Aduro, man, big physical guy. I love this guy. 9 rebounds in this game. He really stepped up. No P.J. Hall, so he had to step up in a backup big role. And then James Banks, throws himself out of the game with a ridiculous, violent elbow that he had no business doing that. Come on, James Banks. What are you doing? So then Aduro comes right back in, and he just kept getting traffic rebound after traffic rebound in a game where points and possessions were hard to come by at the end of the game. I thought Aduro was such a sneak star of the back end of this game. Same too with DJ Rodman, who I thought made big defensive plays and big rebounds. Sound familiar? Doing it like his daddy.
Yeah, and plus, even some things that is not like his dad, hitting a three-pointer and just showing a lot of ball control. When the ball was in his hands, I felt totally comfortable with what he was going to decide to do. So good stuff there. All right, that'll do it. That's a championship edition, folks. I never thought I'd see the day, but it's here. A championship edition of Locked On Hornets. Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Locked On NBA. He gets to gloat right in the face of Matt Moore and Hayes today. Make sure you go check that out. Make sure that's your second listen. And I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me, WFNZ, every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.
Look at that.
Big dub.
The camera won't focus, but it's still beautiful.